What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and before I say anything else, before I get into the absolute insanity that I'm about to reveal to you, I need you to understand something very clearly. What I'm about to tell you is going to make your blood boil. What I'm about to expose is going to make you question everything you thought you knew about WWE, about how they treat their talent, about the absolute corruption that exists behind the scenes in that company. And I'm warning you right now, if you're a WWE apologist, if you're someone who thinks that company can do no wrong, you might want to click away from this video right now because what I'm about to reveal is going to shatter your perception of reality. CM Punk, the best in the world, the voice of the voiceless, the man who came back to WWE after a decade away because we all begged him to return, is now preparing to sue WWE for actively protecting the person who attacked him backstage. Let me say that again so it really sinks in. WWE knows who attacked CM Punk. They know who tried to end his career. They know who assaulted one of their top stars, and instead of doing the right thing, instead of holding that person accountable, instead of protecting Punk like any legitimate company would protect their employee, they're covering it up. They're hiding the evidence. They're protecting the attacker. And now Punk has had enough, and he's taking them to court. Drop a comment right now if this makes you as furious as it makes me. Share this video everywhere because people need to know the truth about what's happening in WWE. Hit that like button if you stand with CM Punk, and smash that subscribe button because we're about to dive deep into the most controversial story in wrestling right now, and you're not going to want to miss a single second of this. Now, let me take you back to where this all started because this story has layers upon layers, and if you don't understand the full context, you won't appreciate just how disgusting WWE's behavior has been throughout this entire situation. CM Punk returned to WWE at Survivor Series 2023 in Chicago, his hometown, and it was one of the most emotional moments in recent wrestling history. After all the bad blood, after all the lawsuits with AEW, after all the controversy and drama, Punk came home to WWE, and fans were absolutely ecstatic. It felt like a new chapter, a fresh start, an opportunity for Punk to finally get the respect and the treatment he deserved from the company he helped build. For months, everything seemed perfect. Punk was working with top talent, he was in meaningful storylines, he was being featured prominently on television, and it looked like WWE had learned from their past mistakes and were actually treating Punk like the megastar he is. But then it happened. During a backstage segment that was being filmed for WWE television, CM Punk was brutally attacked by an unknown assailant. The attack was vicious, it was calculated, and it was designed to injure Punk badly enough that he would be forced out of action. And here's where things get really suspicious, here's where the conspiracy starts to take shape. WWE has security cameras everywhere in their arenas and backstage areas. They have footage of everything that happens behind the scenes. They document every single interaction, every movement, every moment for legal purposes and for potential content creation. So logically, they would have crystal clear footage of who attacked CM Punk. They would know exactly who did it, when they did it, how they did it, and why they did it. But instead of releasing that information, instead of identifying the attacker publicly, instead of taking action against the person responsible, WWE has remained completely silent. Multiple sources close to the situation have confirmed that Punk has repeatedly asked WWE to reveal the identity of his attacker. He's demanded to see the security footage. He's demanded that the company take action against the person responsible. And every single time, WWE has stonewalled him. They've given him excuse after excuse. They've told him they're investigating. They've told him they need more time. They've told him they want to handle it internally. But here's what's really happening, and this is what multiple people backstage have confirmed. WWE knows exactly who attacked Punk. They've known from day one. But the person who attacked Punk is someone they don't want to expose, someone they're actively protecting, someone whose career they're more concerned about protecting than they are about protecting CM Punk or ensuring justice is served. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking this is all a work, this is all part of a storyline, this is WWE creating drama to build toward a big match reveal where the attacker is finally exposed and we get some huge WrestleMania match out of it. And normally, I would agree with you. Normally, this would be exactly the kind of storyline WWE would run to generate interest and build toward a big payoff. But here's the problem. CM Punk is not treating this like a storyline. Punk is hiring real lawyers. He's preparing real legal action. He's talking about real lawsuits in real courts with real consequences. This isn't a worked shoot promo on WWE television. This is a legitimate legal matter that's being handled outside of the wrestling business, and that should tell you everything you need to know about how serious this situation really is. The legal basis for Punk's lawsuit is actually pretty straightforward, and any employment lawyer will tell you that Punk has an incredibly strong case. WWE has a legal obligation to provide a safe working environment for their employees and independent contractors. When an employee is assaulted in the workplace, the employer has a responsibility to investigate that assault, identify the perpetrator, take appropriate disciplinary action, and ensure that the employee who was assaulted is protected from future harm. By refusing to identify Punk's attacker, by refusing to take action against that person, and by continuing to allow that person to potentially be in close proximity to Punk in WWE venues, the company is failing in their basic legal obligations as an employer. They're creating a hostile work environment. They're enabling workplace violence. They're prioritizing the career of one person over the safety and well-being of another, and that's not just morally wrong, it's legally actionable. But it gets even worse, and this is where I really start to lose my mind over this whole situation. Multiple sources have indicated that the reason WWE is protecting this mystery attacker is because exposing them would create a public relations nightmare for the company. Think about what that means. WWE is more concerned about their image, about protecting their brand, about avoiding negative publicity than they are about doing the right thing and protecting one of their biggest stars. They're willing to let CM Punk, a man who has made them millions of dollars, a man who has put his body on the line for their company, a man who came back after a decade because fans demanded it, they're willing to let that man suffer, to let him work in an unsafe environment, to let him be vulnerable to future attacks, all because revealing the truth would make WWE look bad. That is absolutely disgusting, and it shows you exactly what WWE's priorities are when push comes to shove. Now, let's talk about who this mystery attacker might be, because obviously that's the question everyone wants answered. I can't say definitively who it is because I don't have access to WWE's security footage and neither does anyone else outside of WWE's inner circle, but we can make some educated guesses based on the circumstances, based on who would have motive to attack Punk, and based on who WWE would have reason to protect despite them committing assault. The most obvious suspect, and the person that most people backstage believe is responsible, is someone who has a long history of conflict with CM Punk, someone who has publicly expressed animosity toward Punk, and someone whose career and position in WWE would make them someone the company would want to protect at all costs. There are really only a handful of people who fit that description. You've got people from Punk's past who he's had legitimate heat with. You've got people who might feel threatened by Punk's return because it affects their position on the card. You've got people who might have been told by others in the company that Punk is a problem and they need to take care of it. And you've got people who might have just acted impulsively out of anger or jealousy or resentment. Without seeing the footage, we can't know for sure, but what we do know is that WWE is protecting this person, which means it's someone important to their plans, someone they don't want to lose, someone whose value to the company outweighs their responsibility to protect CM Punk. And here's what makes this even more infuriating. While WWE is protecting Punk's attacker, while they're stonewalling Punk's requests for information and justice, they're continuing to use Punk on television. They're continuing to promote him. They're continuing to make money off his name and his likeness and his star power. They're having their cake and eating it too. They get to benefit from CM Punk being on their roster, they get to sell tickets and merchandise and generate buzz because CM Punk is back in WWE, but they won't extend him the basic courtesy and respect of ensuring his safety and holding people accountable when they assault him. That's exploitation. That's taking advantage of someone. That's treating a human being like a commodity rather than a person who deserves dignity and protection. CM Punk's decision to pursue legal action is not just about getting justice for himself, although that's certainly part of it. It's also about setting a precedent. It's about sending a message to WWE that they can't treat their talent this way. It's about making sure that other wrestlers don't have to go through what Punk is going through. Because if WWE can get away with protecting someone who assaults CM Punk, one of the biggest stars in the company, what's to stop them from doing the same thing to someone lower on the card? What's to stop them from creating a culture where workplace violence is tolerated as long as the person committing that violence is valuable enough to the company? What's to stop them from prioritizing their bottom line over the safety of their performers? Let me tell you something else that's been bothering me about this whole situation, and it ties into WWE's history of sweeping problems under the rug. This is not the first time WWE has been accused of protecting people who have done terrible things. This is not the first time WWE has been accused of prioritizing their business interests over doing what's morally right. We've seen it time and time again throughout WWE's history. We've seen them protect people who probably should have been fired. We've seen them cover up incidents that should have been made public. We've seen them use their lawyers and their money and their influence to make problems go away instead of actually addressing those problems head-on. And now they're doing it again with CM Punk, and Punk is not the kind of person who's going to just accept it and move on. That's what makes CM Punk different from a lot of other wrestlers. Punk has money. Punk has resources. Punk has a platform. Punk has the willingness to fight back against corporate power even when it's expensive and difficult and potentially career-damaging. Most wrestlers don't have those advantages. Most wrestlers are living paycheck to paycheck. Most wrestlers are terrified of being fired or blackballed from the industry. Most wrestlers will put up with horrible treatment because they don't have any other options. But Punk does have options, and he's choosing to use those options to stand up not just for himself but for every wrestler who has ever been mistreated by WWE and didn't have the ability to fight back. The lawsuit that Punk is preparing, according to sources close to the situation, is going to be comprehensive. It's not just going to be about the attack itself. It's going to be about WWE's failure to provide a safe work environment. It's going to be about WWE's pattern of protecting certain individuals regardless of their behavior. It's going to be about WWE's hostile work environment and their retaliation against employees who demand accountability. Punk's lawyers are apparently gathering evidence not just about this specific incident but about WWE's corporate culture more broadly, and that should terrify WWE's legal team because once you start pulling on that thread, once you start looking into how WWE actually operates behind the scenes, you're going to find a lot of things that the company would prefer to keep hidden. Discovery in this lawsuit is going to be absolutely fascinating if it gets that far. WWE is going to be forced to turn over security footage, email communications, text messages, internal memos, everything related to this incident and how they handled it. They're going to have to put executives on the stand and have them answer questions under oath about who attacked Punk, why they protected that person, what conversations they had about how to handle the situation, and what their reasoning was for every decision they made. That's going to be incredibly damaging to WWE's public image, and it's going to expose things that WWE has worked very hard to keep secret. That's why I actually don't think this lawsuit is going to make it to trial. I think WWE is going to settle with CM Punk out of court for a substantial amount of money and with a non-disclosure agreement that prevents Punk from talking about the details publicly. But here's the thing about settlements with NDAs. Even if CM Punk can't talk about the specifics, the wrestling community is small, and information leaks. People talk. Wrestlers talk to other wrestlers. Backstage personnel talk to reporters. Lawyers talk to other lawyers. The truth has a way of coming out eventually, and even if we never get official confirmation about who attacked Punk or exactly what happened behind the scenes, we'll get enough pieces of the puzzle from various sources that we'll be able to figure out the full picture. And when that happens, when the truth finally comes out about how WWE handled the situation, it's going to be a major black eye for the company, and they're going to deserve every bit of criticism they get. I also think it's worth discussing what this means for CM Punk's future in WWE, because obviously this lawsuit is going to strain his relationship with the company even further. If Punk is actively suing WWE while still being under contract with them, that creates an incredibly awkward situation. Can WWE continue to use him on television? Can they put him in storylines? Can they ask him to do promos or work matches while there's active litigation happening? Technically yes, they can require him to fulfill his contractual obligations, but practically speaking, it's going to be very difficult to book CM Punk effectively when everyone knows he's in a legal battle with the company. It's going to be hard for fans to suspend their disbelief and get invested in wrestling storylines when there's a real lawsuit happening in the background that's far more compelling than anything WWE creative could write. My prediction is that WWE is going to try to keep CM Punk off television as much as possible while this legal situation plays out. They'll say he's injured or that he's dealing with personal issues or that they're saving him for something special down the line, but really they're just trying to minimize the awkwardness of having him on TV while he's simultaneously suing them. And that's a shame because CM Punk came back to WWE to wrestle, to entertain fans, to have great matches and be part of meaningful storylines, and instead he's being sidelined because WWE refuses to do the right thing and hold his attacker accountable. Once again, CM Punk is being punished for standing up for himself, for demanding to be treated with respect, for refusing to just shut up and accept whatever WWE decides to do to him. Let me also address the people who are going to say that CM Punk is being difficult, that he's causing problems, that he should just let it go and move on. To those people I say you're missing the entire point. This isn't about CM Punk being difficult. This is about CM Punk being assaulted and WWE refusing to do anything about it. If you got attacked at your job and your employer knew who did it but refused to tell you or take any action against that person, would you just accept it and go back to work like nothing happened? Of course you wouldn't. You would demand answers. You would demand accountability. You would consider legal action. That's what any reasonable person would do, and that's exactly what CM Punk is doing. The fact that some people are framing this as Punk being problematic rather than WWE being negligent shows just how twisted wrestling fan culture can be sometimes. As we move forward and this legal situation develops, I'm going to be covering every update on this channel. I'm going to be following the court filings. I'm going to be talking to sources who have information about what's happening behind the scenes. I'm going to be analyzing every development and breaking down what it means for CM Punk, for WWE, and for the wrestling industry as a whole. This is one of the most important stories in wrestling right now, and it deserves serious attention and serious coverage. So make sure you're subscribed to this channel with notifications turned on so you don't miss any updates. Make sure you're commenting on these videos to let me know your thoughts and your theories about what's really happening. Make sure you're sharing these videos so more people become aware of how WWE is treating one of their biggest stars. In conclusion, what we're witnessing right now is a David versus Goliath battle between CM Punk and WWE. On one side you have a wrestler who is demanding accountability and justice. On the other side you have a billion-dollar corporation that's more concerned with protecting their image and their bottom line than they are with doing what's right. We've seen this story play out before in different industries with different people, and it usually ends with the corporation winning because they have more resources and more power. But CM Punk is not like most people. He's proven time and time again that he's willing to walk away from money and opportunity if the price is compromising his principles. He walked away from WWE in 2014 when he felt disrespected. He walked away from AEW after the backstage incident even though he was making huge money there. And he'll walk away again if WWE doesn't make this right, lawsuit or no lawsuit. The question is whether WWE is smart enough to realize that keeping CM Punk happy is worth more than protecting whoever attacked him. The question is whether WWE's legal team can convince the company's executives that settling this quickly and quietly is better than dragging it out and having all their dirty laundry aired in court. The question is whether anyone in WWE's leadership has the courage to do the right thing even when it's not the most convenient or profitable thing. Based on WWE's history, I'm not optimistic. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope WWE surprises us all and actually handles this situation appropriately. I hope they reveal who attacked CM Punk. I hope they take appropriate action against that person. I hope they apologize to Punk for how they've handled this, and I hope they make things right. But I'm not holding my breath, and neither should you. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please drop a comment letting me know your thoughts on this entire situation. Do you think CM Punk is right to sue WWE? Do you think WWE is protecting the attacker? Who do you think attacked CM Punk? Let me know everything in the comments below. Hit that like button if you support CM Punk in this fight. Hit that share button to spread awareness about what's happening. And hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future updates on this story. I'll see you in the next video.